Welcome to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast, where we unlock the power within and navigate the journey of your self-discovery together. I'm Shaz, your spiritual mentor and life coach, here to help you tap into your inner guidance system and manifest your best life. Whether you're just beginning your spiritual journey or looking to deepen your practice, this podcast offers insights, techniques, and inspiration to elevate your consciousness and transform your reality. Get ready to shine your light and embrace your true potential. Remember, the answers are inside you. Let me be your guide on earth. Welcome back to Spiritual Awakening with Shaz. I'm your host, Shaz. Today I'm introducing you to the beautiful Darleen Redman. She's an intuitive business coach who has years of experience helping people attune and connect to the energy of their business as a separate entity. Each of our businesses that we started, no matter what sort of business, the date you started and the fact that it has a name and ABN all contributes to the energy and vibrational frequency of that business. And Darleen helps you connect and attune to that energy through meditation and mindfulness and constructive questioning to find the answers that your business wants to share with you. It's a really powerful process that will help you make better decisions and stop putting other people on pedestals and allowing them to take away your power by telling you how to run your business, especially when they don't even know who you are, what your business is about, anywhere near as well as you do. This is a fantastic way for people to communicate with different tools and even just the intuitive vibration of your business to create a bountiful, abundant, and prosperous, successful business for yourself. Today, we're going to delve into Darleen's personal story and share her insights of her own spiritual awakening and how it has led her on the pathway to her purpose and passion today. So welcome, Darleen. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Shaz. I really appreciate this. I've been excited to talk to you for so long.
I know. And I love just, even in our pre-conversation, we just found out some things that I sort of knew but didn't know. And I love the essence of it. I have known you now close to 10 years because we are so similar and so different in many ways. But our connection goes beyond this lifetime. And I'm fascinated to discover more aspects of it because each time we talk, we grow and evolve together. We use each other as support systems to uplift and navigate the spiritual world together in our businesses. We are there when there's no one else. We mentor each other, we help each other, we support each other and give each other encouragement pretty much daily, but definitely weekly. We do get busy and we're both studying our own aspects of our own growth and our own personal journey. So today I want to share some aspects of Darleen's personal spiritual awakening. So let's start with, when did you first realize that you were on a spiritual awakening pathway?
It was actually really interesting because when I was about 17, I had what I now know, I didn't know it at the time, was what's called a prophetic dream. So that is where you leave your body and you then go somewhere and actually see something happening. And that's what happened to me. I was actually working as what's called a first aid officer, and we had a meeting. A friend turned up and he said, "You'll never guess what's happened. My car got broken into last night and this and this and this got stolen." And it was interesting because I actually grew up in a religion. So you'd think, oh, there'd be lots of fear about that. No, not me. I was curious instead. And because what happened was when I actually left my body and went over his car, I could see everything that got stolen, including the names of the CDs.
Wow.
Even the names of the CDs. So everything that got stolen from that car, I didn't actually see the person. Like, it was just a sort of an image. Yet to actually have that happen, it was so interesting. And I didn't actually say to him at all because, I think he would have been probably a bit scared. Whereas for me, it wasn't scary. It was, and I don't know why I never had a fear. I mean, maybe it's because I've had so many past lives. There was no fear though. It was just like, oh, that's curious. And it still took me a couple of years because I actually needed to leave home before I could start really delving into, what is there besides religion.
Yep.
So that was
How powerful was that for you? How impactful was that on your life?
It was really impactful because I had been looking at the religion, and my best friend in the religion actually didn't like the fact that it wasn't long after that I joined as a volunteer paramedic. So in Tasmania, I grew up, half or three quarters of the ambulance service back then, the actual emergency ambulance service was volunteers. So I did that, and then my best friend said to me, "You can't do that because you're working on the Sabbath." And I went, "But hang on, people get sick 24/7." But that was what was starting to come through, and so then when I had the prophetic dream, I went, you know what? There's got to be more to life. Yes, the religion's been great for me, but now obviously there's something else out there, and I need to discover what it is.
Yeah. And that event was very specific. How was that a catalyst for the change in your life?
It was really cool because I left home to actually become a nurse. And then I was around other people. So I was around the scientific world, which, is really focused in certain areas. Yet at the same time, I didn't just do that. I actually decided, you know what? I've had that happen. I want to learn more. So I would go into new age shops and I'd actually chat to people. And then I discovered all the different things that are out there, like the cards that you've created yourself. So tarot and oracle cards. And it actually helped me in working as a nurse and paramedic because I knew if something was really wrong with someone, even though I had other people saying, "Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with them." I knew. And I mean, for me, that helped me become a really great patient advocate. And so I would actually be able to go and, say to the doctors, "Okay, I've done this. There's nothing wrong with the observations, yet I know something's wrong. Can we do some more tests or something?" So it really helped me in the medical field, just be so much better for the patient.
And how powerful is that knowing, and how lucky are all those patients that came across you as their practitioner or nurse or healer to stand up and say that there is something wrong? Because a lot of the tests that you can do show nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There before, I had a pulmonary embolism on my lung, and they tried to tell me there was nothing wrong with me, but I knew instantly there was something wrong, and I demanded a test.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that test that literally saved my life. So thank you for that, because as someone that went through that for herself, knowing that there are people out there advocating for people when you know, and that knowing is so deep, it is so, there is nothing to stop that incessant knowing that there is something deeper that going on than we're aware of, and standing up for them. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So personally, from me, thank you.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
stood up for myself. My
Mm.
doctor, when he came back after my scans, I'd never seen a black person turn white. He was horrified.
Mm.
But if I just went home that day, that would have moved into my heart and I would have died. So it's very important that when you know something, and we all get intuition about ourselves, we know our body and our essence better than anybody else, but it is also great to have somebody else who's intuitive and empathic to know on your behalf.
Yeah, and I remember one clear episode that's still in my head, and this, excuse me, was from having years of experience. I was working in recovery, or whatever you want to call it, so where you go after theatre, and I had never seen someone not fully reversed. So what they do is they put you on an anaesthetic, they give you drugs to take you out of the anaesthetic. I got this patient back, and I knew there was something wrong with them, but their observations were fine. But I knew something was wrong. So I went into the anaesthetist and I said, "Look, I can't put it into words, but there's something wrong with this patient." And so the anaesthetist, because the observations were normal, they still took their time. When they did the tests, basically the same thing happened. The doctor's pupils went so large, they were like in the head. You could hear them swearing, and they quickly got some more drugs to actually bring this patient fully out.
Wow.
Mm.
That's amazing. It actually just reminds me of another incident that's rolling through my head. Back only 3 years ago now, or thereabouts, I don't remember the date. I'm pretty sure it was 2021, but I had to go and get my gallbladder out. and I was in the hospital in emergency. And I'd just come back from having a procedure done to have the scans of they were looking at the gallbladder problems. And I noticed energetically this pull about a patient 3 beds down. And he seemed fine. And there were people at the desk in front of me, and I'm waving and going, he needs help, he needs help. And then one of the doctors noticed me, and she's gone, oh my God, he's going to crash. And this gentleman flatlined. And she's like, how did you know? And I couldn't explain the energy and the pull of this life force of this gentleman just yanking out of him. And this doctor paid attention. She was looking at me, looked at him, and they managed to bring him back. He had an overdose of morphine. So
Wow.
quite life confirming for me, because I also am allergic to that drug and I had my episode from it. And to be able to help someone else and just bring that attention, because seconds matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they were able to get him back, but because before that, he was screaming in pain. So they gave him the drug to help the pain factor, but it caused more drama than not.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
you never know when this knowing is going to kick in. And it is up to us to utilize that knowing sense and that intuition for other people when it's appropriate. The right people will believe us and others won't. The doctor who actually seen and helped him, she was in that hospital at the time because her husband was ill. She wasn't even meant to be there. And she came over and asked me, how did you know? And I said, I'm psychic. I can just tell energetically. I could literally feel. I didn't see anyone, which is unusual, but not at the same time. But I could feel the life force pulling out of the body and this essence of it's not his time yet. So I was also throwing up in a bag at the time too. I wasn't well in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know how I had enough capacity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
When the time is right and you're meant to be in a certain place at a certain time, the universe works in mysterious ways.
It does. And that's what I love about what we do because, we've done so much work with our abilities and we trust them so much, we don't question them.
No, not at all. And I've had many different incidents where I just know things long before other people and you act on it or you don't. It's up. But if it's going to have impact on me, I know I act on it regardless of the consequences. So I'm very grateful for that aspect and I appreciate everybody else that does the same. So before your awakening period, what were your beliefs and what was life like? You did mention that you grew up in a religious background. How much have you changed since then because of this lifestyle?
I don't even recognize myself. Like when growing up, I was literally, and I will say literally, that person in the corner that wouldn't even say boo to anyone because I grew up in the era where children are seen and not heard, and all of those beliefs, that came from that era. So that's what I grew up with. So of course, I shrunk myself to be invisible. So I didn't want anyone to actually see me because it didn't feel safe. And I mean, there's trauma from that, I do have, I don't want to trigger people, but there is trauma. And so that made me shrink even further. So I would wear clothes. Like you can see now, I'm wearing bright clothes. In the past, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to wear the drab clothes, the brown, the black. I wanted to sink myself into books. Yeah. So to go from that to now being someone who loves life, like I do, I really love life. It's just I don't recognize myself. Like I look at photos, even when I was in my probably I think 30s and I was doing medical intuition, there was a photo of me sitting next to a pole because I wanted to hide still. Even then, I still wanted to hide. So it's taken me a long time to now be out. And I mean, in the past, I would have never been on camera because, again, we've got the tall poppy syndrome. And I was always taught, don't take photos of yourself because you're vain, all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, now I'm just like, who cares?
Who would have known that you were a shy little poppy somewhere? Not the twin.
Oh,
That's for sure.
like shy. If you said boo to me, I literally would have wet my pants.
Wow.
Mm.
And look how far you've grown. Even in the 10 years that I've known you, we're not shy in any means, but
Mm,
how far you've grown, especially I'd say the last 2 years has been,
mm,
and watching that and witnessing it is a pleasure. It's the information you share with people and how you uplift and change them matters. And I don't know whether enough people tell you that, but the impact on my life is profound. And I know there'd be many days where I'd be lost because sometimes I don't have anyone to really dump my crap on because everybody dumps all their crap on me.
mm,
Always the strong ones that also need that.
mm.
Thank you for being that and showing me the way. Because with your encouragement, this is how I finally got off my ass and created this podcast because I would procrastinate and I would just not get it done. And we decided it's better out than in. If it's not perfect, that's okay. We'd
Yep.
rather just get it done. So, what were the initial signs
Yep.
or experiences that indicated a shift was happening within you?
Well, that's a good question. I think a lot of it was to do with working in the healthcare field. Like something would happen, and I would just, like, someone would say something, and I'd just go, that doesn't feel right. There's something not right about that. So then I would actually go and do some research and not just research the healthcare field to go, okay, what else? So then I would actually, because I did lots of different courses and had spiritual coaches. So I would go to my spiritual coach and ask questions. And then they would say, okay, so, they'd ask questions to help me understand what I was actually feeling and knowing. And so working with those people helped me. So even like, I might have a bird fly in front of me and I go, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why. So different nature, I think, was probably one of the biggest signs because I love nature. So I would have things, like I might even have a bird start singing. And instead of going, oh, yeah, that's nice, I'd be like, oh, is it trying to tell me something? And so that's why I love nature so much because it's always been talking to me.
And it
That's, I
does.
think,
One of my early things was I went to SeaWorld when I was 18 or 19. I can't remember exactly. It's before I was 20, that much I know.
mm,
And the dolphins, there was this dolphin pup and it was being trained by the trainer. And I walked past the underwater glass and it came to a stop and started acting very strange to the point that the trainer come down and said, "What are you doing? What's going on with this animal?"
mm,
And I said nothing. So I went upstairs and I just talked to it like a human and said,
mm,
"Go do what you're told. And if you be good, I'll come and watch."
mm,
It's like this dolphin and the whole family performed just for me.
mm,
Took many years for me to fully understand that. And dolphin is my power animal. And that was a very amazing experience. But being so young and not fully connected to the right teachers,
mm,
wasn't able to understand it all at the level that I need. So having good teachers around to do that, I know the power of that. It's very different when you do have that. It's also
mm,
why I chose to step into this field because there is so much lack out there when you
mm,
start. It's hard.
mm,
One to go to answer these questions and to
mm,
down the pathway to do your own research and find your
mm.
own validation is really important.
It is, and that's why I think it did take me longer to be really comfortable in my abilities because I didn't have those teachers for quite a long time. And so it was just my brain going, okay, I wonder what's going on. So I just allowed the curiosity to sit there until I could find someone to help me.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Now, through a spiritual awakening, everyone talks about the dark night of the soul. Have you had a dark night of the soul experience and do you care to share it with us all?
I do. I think, and I've talked about it a lot, so I'm really happy to talk about it. One of the biggest things that happened, I was still working in the healthcare field. And I was sitting at my desk that was actually facing where I was working. And I looked and I went, you know what? Life just isn't worth it anymore. And I actually got my ID and I actually put my hands on the desk and actually went to stand up to walk over to where I knew, like, to go to work and to actually take medication because I knew exactly what I needed. I didn't need any of the drugs of addiction. I knew exactly what drugs that were in the cupboard, easily accessible, that I could take. And I don't know. I now know that I actually had an angel reach down and flick a switch, because if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here. I know for a fact that I would have gone and taken those tablets because I knew what to do. Being in the healthcare field, I knew exactly what to take and how much. And I mean, that did actually, I ended up getting quite depressed after that because I just thought, because my second cousin actually did, whatever we call it now, did actually end his life. And so I always thought, oh, how selfish is he, until I went through it. And I now realize it is not selfish. I had such tunnel vision, I couldn't see that there were actually people in my life that would miss me. I honestly did not think anyone would miss me because, by then I'd really burnt out in the healthcare field. I was done with it. So, yeah, yeah.
It is one of the hardest parts about the dark night of the soul when you feel so lonely that there is someone there.
Mm.
And thankfully, most of us have some sort of intervention or some switch, an angel, a bee, or a friend. It can be any human that shows us that there is something so much more for us.
Yeah.
How did the event change your life and put you on this beautiful spiritual pathway that you're on now?
I think the biggest thing that changed for me was the fact that there is so much stigmatism still with mental health. Because when I eventually told one of my colleagues, they went, "Oh, I never knew you were depressed. Why didn't you say anything?" And I had just watched them treat somebody who had what's called ECT. So basically, this is for severe depression. They basically shock the brain to try and get it back in. And this nurse had just treated this person like a piece of dirt. And I'm thinking, that's how you treat someone with mental illness, and you expect me to be open with you. And yeah, it was just like, I just could not believe how much stigmatism there is still around that. So that helped me realize that I needed help. And so, yeah, I did end up getting even more depressed. And then what I did was I went, you know what? I'm actually over this. I need help. So I actually ended up doing two things at once. End up seeing a psychologist, and then I ended up doing a diploma of counselling.
Beautiful.
So the diploma of counselling, well, I tell you, that certainly brought up a few things.
Learning always does. And sometimes it's always better to learn about a subject in order to help yourself in many different ways. It's sure how I got into healing and all the different modalities and understanding the depths of the soul was to find answers for myself.
Yeah. And then I did things like, I think one of the biggest things that's helped me is nature's definitely helped me. Then I also did meditations. And, I went into what was happening. I decided to really dig deep. Like, I wanted to know the core of what was going on. Why did I get depressed? Why did I want to end my life? And that was something that I really knew that I needed to do, because if I didn't do that, I'd stay depressed. I'd stay anxious. I'd stay all that. And I thought, there's got to be more to life. Like, because, I'd been working with my spirituality since I was 17. I knew there was more. So I decided to do both together.
Beautiful. And how did you get the strength to overcome this? What was the driving force to discover more?
I think the driving force was the fact that I really wanted to help people. Like, I really wanted to help business women with their mental health as well. That's how it started. And then I realized that that was just something that I think was too much for me. Like, it was just too much for me to actually help, because then I would need to go down the counsellor route, and I didn't want to do that. That wasn't me.
And what support systems, tools, and practices do you have in place for your spiritual awakening, for your mental health, for your total well-being?
Well, friends like you. I think that's the biggest thing. And I've only been recently thinking about the friends that I have, and I'm letting a few people drop by the wayside because it is a one-way communication. I'm always doing the communication, and that is not a relationship. So those people are letting go. It was also crystals. Like, I've even got one here now. These. These are amazing, and these have helped so much. Like just holding one, the energy that comes from that really does change your vibration. And that's the biggest thing, is changing your vibration. So when I was really depressed, my vibration was so low, like I stayed in that. So then I did things like going for a walk, even if it was just a short minute, a 5 minute walk to the beach so that I could put my feet in the water. That was one of the biggest things. And then I had the best thing happen. Growing up, I never learned how to swim. I could float. So I decided I was actually going to join the Surf Lifesaving Club and become a surf lifesaver.
Yeah.
So within 6 months, I'd come from being a non-swimmer to getting my bronze medallion and being one of those people in the water.
Wow.
And so that's just a few. Yeah. I love that. There's lots of different tools, and I think that's the thing, is there's not just one tool that helps. There is hundreds. So I love using oracle cards, tarot cards, crystals, meditations, journaling, visualizations, talking to friends. Even like I had a psychologist. So even that, and now that I've done the work with a psychologist, I know that I don't need a psychologist anymore. Now I need all of this beautiful personal development. And so I will continue doing courses for the rest of my life to help me with all that.
Beautiful. I love that because crystals had a massive impact on my life too. They changed me,
Mm.
actually, as you can see, a
Yeah.
million. Never
I forgot.
ever enough.
I forgot the biggest things, fun.
Yes.
So I've got things like
A child. Always.
yes, that is one of the biggest things, is having fun in your life, like, and in business especially, because, being like working in business by myself, you need to bring that fun in.
Do for sure.
Mm.
So looking back, what do you think the dark night of the soul was teaching you?
It was actually teaching me what it meant to actually be that severely depressed. I needed to actually experience that so that I can help other businesswomen. So that when a businesswoman comes to me for what I do and they can say, actually, this is, what's happened, I've got that experience. I've got the knowledge of what it is. And it actually helps, and it gives you, I do want to say the word, but I don't, validity.
Mhm.
Because I've been there, like there are coaches out there that have no experience or anything that are trying to teach people something. And you're like, how do you know? You've never been through it.
And that is one of the core things that I'm very mindful of and passionate about. I work with people going through the same things that
Mm-hmm.
I survived and conquered.
Yep.
Amazing what personal experience
Mm-hmm.
does. And it's not just logic, it's not just
Mm-hmm.
smarts, it's physical, personal growth and transformation through it. So, as part of your transformation and lessons, how did the spiritual awakening journey turn life around for you, and what changed within you?
The way it turned life around was I actually left the healthcare field. That was, I think, the biggest thing. Like I talked about leaving for 10 years and then working with my spirituality continually, I got the courage and I actually left. That was one of the biggest things. And also now I've got the confidence and the courage to stand up for myself. So if I'm working with a coach and they say, you've got to do this, I filter it through my intuition and then my business's energy. And I will stand up for myself and go, that is not right for my business. So I'm really keen on doing that. And the visibility, like I am out there, creating lots of videos. I'm open about everything. I'm not open about like everything, but I'm open about what I've been through so that other people can understand that, I know what it's like. And it's just, yeah, just the confidence. And I mean, in the last 4 years, I've moved 8 times, I think. And in the past, my anxiety would have been through the roof. I would have been in, and now it's like, oh, whatever. This is life. This is what it is. And I'm open to living anywhere in the world. Like I'm not, like I love the beach. And yeah, I do want to live near the beach. Yet I'm not focused on, I've got to live there. I must live there. It's like, wherever. I'm it's the growth mindset. So we've got a fixed and growth mindset. Fixed is you're fixed in this way and you're not doing anything. I've now got a growth mindset. And so I'm open.
Expansive, isn't it?
Mm.
So, what were the biggest lessons you learned from your spiritual awakening?
Biggest lessons is there's not one way to do something. So, like, I love the healthcare field, yet there is so much still wrong with it. You know, if we could have the alternative field, complementary field, and the healthcare field work together, how powerful would that be? Like, it would be so powerful. And the fact is that, and I'm very open about this, like, if someone came up and said, okay, that's, an amethyst and it means this, I'm now open to going, okay, what does it actually mean for me? Because that's the biggest thing. Like somebody came up with what they thought a crystal meant. Same thing with the chakras. Somebody came up with what the chakras meant, the colors and everything. And now I'm teaching business women to go in and find their own answers in the chakras.
I love the work you do with the chakras. You certainly opened my mind up to so much more about them. It was not something I was overly focused on besides clearing the wheels and balancing them to get to the depth of it. But if you've never understood that you have a power chakra, Darlene does an amazing session to identify your power chakra. Go and get one done. It is one of the biggest eye openers that I ever had. So, how has your view of yourself and the world shifted since your awakening and since you stepped into the full power of the spiritual thought leader that you are?
I think the biggest thing is that I am so much more grounded. Like I am so much more grounded and so at peace. And I've actually had quite a few friends just look at me and go, wow, there's like a peace on my face because I don't fight the battles anymore. Like if there's a battle I need to fight, I'll fight it. But most of the time I'm just like, is it really going to affect me?
Yeah.
Is it really going to do something? If it's something really important that I know I must do something about it, I will. But most of the time I'm like, whatever. And it brings so much peace into your life when you let go. And the other thing I let go of was control because I didn't have control growing up. And so things happened and I didn't have a lot of control in the healthcare field. So I controlled everything that I possibly could, which was my fixed mindset. Now I've let go and I'm like, I'll control what I can control and everything else, who cares?
Beautiful.
Mm.
And what new practices or beliefs have become central in your life as a result of this?
Meditation is one of the biggest. And definitely talking to my business all the time. Like, I know that sounds strange, but I am always talking to my business. Like, I give it a rest because it's a relationship. So it rests. I'm always talking to it though, like, because we're in a partnership.
Beautiful. So, what advice would you give to someone that's going through this awakening period or the dark night of the soul?
I think the biggest thing is actually that's a really good question because it's like there's so much that there is always somebody there for you, always somebody. No matter how narrow your vision gets, just take a deep breath every single hour or something. Just take a breath. Just live in that moment and just keep living in that moment until you start realizing that there is more and that there is someone there that will support you.
Beautiful. And if you could go back and speak to your pre-awakening self, what would you say to her?
I think the biggest thing, self-compassion. Have self-compassion for yourself because that's something I needed to learn because I was such a people pleaser. Oh, that was like, all the other thing it's called is a doormat. And I felt like an absolute doormat because I had no boundaries. So I've had so much self-compassion for myself and for my life. Like, I look back and I'm like, I don't regret a single thing that's happened in my life, even everything that people would consider bad. I don't regret a thing.
Me either. It's one
Mm.
of the greatest aspects when you become fully awake and aware
Mm-hmm.
is everything in life has led me to this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy and
Mm-hmm.
content I am to the point I'm masterfully creating what I want for
Mm-hmm.
it. And that acceptance matters. It really does.
It
So,
does.
what practices, books, or resources would you recommend to others along the pathway?
I think the biggest thing is your body. Your body is the tool. That is all you need. Yes, other practices are fantastic. And especially when you're starting out, having the other practices help you understand what intuition is, how to trust it. But when you get to the point where all you need is your body, oh my goodness, it is incredible. And for me, growing up, I suppressed all my emotions. I didn't want to feel anything because it wasn't safe. And now, because I've done so much work and the feelings, like, as you say, you get goosebumps and you get feelings in your body, and you just, instead of going, oh, I've got pain somewhere, you're like, oh, is that mine or is that somebody else's? What's it telling me? What's going on? And you sort of go down a really cool rabbit hole. So your body is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And it's a healing journey. Like the body will always communicate with you.
Mhm.
One thing you want to listen to first, not last.
Yep.
You must wait to last to pay attention to it.
Hmm.
So tell me that you've come through this journey. What is the beautiful vision you have for your future?
Beautiful vision is teaching business women how to, tune into themselves and their business. Yet the other thing is my art. My art is like, it is such a part of my life, and I want it to be most of my business. Like, I really do. I love it so much because it has actually helped my intuition. It is the art that I practice. You have no control. So it helped me let go of control. There is no control. The paint literally laughs at you. You're like, you want to do what? You dream on. So every single painting is different. Like, it's just, and this is the vision that I want business people to come and create their art with me. So
Yes.
they actually do their art and then they take it away.
Beautiful. I love your artwork. As you can see, it's right behind me on the wall. I have, sorry, this picture probably doesn't show it the most, but there's the other two. They I love scrying into them. I love the energy, the vibration, the frequency of them, and they are so special. So I get that. And watching you even talk about the creation of it and the way that you go, oh, what that color? No, we're going to go get this color and we're going to mix this
Mm,
with it and we're going to use this mode of it. That is quite amazing.
mm.
So just looking back on your awakening process, your dark night of the soul, what does a spiritual awakening mean to you now?
It means coming back to myself, to really just coming back to me and coming back to that soul before they came into earth. Like, just coming back to that and remembering that we are love. We are pure love. We are pure energy. We can manifest anything we want. We can do anything we want, no matter what other people try and do to us, like they might put us down. And because the biggest thing about art, I mean, how many people have you heard, oh, art's not a business, that art's not a profession, you can't make money from art?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the best artists in the world, unfortunately, a lot of them only really make their mark on the world after.
Mm,
But it's a mode, it's a medium, it's a beautiful
mm,
expression of self. And everyone needs to have their own version of art,
mm,
self-expression of it. I love just doing what I call dot paintings. You get a piece of paper and you put dots of paint all over it, squish it together, rub it together, and then scry into it and see what images come from.
mm,
It's amazing. That's why I love these artworks behind me, simply because I scry into them quite often and I find a new image
mhm,
else evolves in it.
mm,
Art, even when paint is fixed on a canvas, it is never stationary.
mhm,
Over time, it will evolve. Cracks will appear in the art. It will shift. It is never the same. And if you delve deep into it and you look beyond the surface paint, depending on the medium and how they've done it,
mm,
do pouring art. So there will be different pour patterns that you'll find.
mhm,
My other friend does paintbrush art. You can see different brush strokes. If you ever go look at the masters in a museum, just look at the fine detail. I know some artists put tiny messages and things in.
mhm,
There's hidden layers to it. It's
mm,
fascinating to me. And when your business speaks to you through art, it's quite amazing. I love it.
Mhm.
One, it's fun for me. It's not the full passion. I don't have a lot of talent with it, but I love people who do get that passionate expression from it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I've actually created floor paintings. Excuse me. So I've created the masculine and feminine for me, and then the masculine and feminine paintings for my business. And I've got them together, and they have changed so much. Like every time I look at them, there's something different.
We change daily.
Hmm.
If you went and took a photo of your face
Hmm.
single day, and especially for those beginning their journey of the awakening, take photos, take selfies of yourself. And the more you learn, the more you evolve, the more you let go, the more you heal, the less lines in your face, the less stress, the lighter the skin gets, the more powerful vibrational frequency. And through those captivations, you'll get orbs and planes, spirit bubbles.
Yes.
Things change. So go take photos of yourself every day outside
Mm.
and see what you can notice. Put a collage there and see it.
Mm.
Recently, I did massive training and a massive breakthrough. I'm nowhere near the same person that I was, and you see it viscerally. It's powerful stuff.
Yeah, and I've seen that with you because you did that where you broke the board, and that was just I loved that video. Like I just looked and I'm like, wow.
I had so much doubt and fear around breaking that board. You have no idea. I was
Mm.
like, please God, break this board. Please fail at this.
Mm.
It was fascinating. But the burdens on it, the funny part is one side we wrote all our burdens and all our troubles, and on the other side we wrote all the things that we want. I ran out of space on the want side. It was so full it wasn't funny, but it was so powerful. I highly
Mm.
recommend it to people.
Mm.
If you have one mantra, affirmation, or belief that you live by today,
I don't think there's one, but I think the biggest one is I am enough. I am enough.
it's the one message I try and tell people all the time. Can't say how many clients have come and said, I'm not enough. And I ask, what is enough? And they go, I know.
Mm.
Seriously, if you're not
Mm.
finding enough for yourself, you are more than enough. And so we're it's amazing.
Yep.
Now, where can our listeners connect with you? I know you're on socials and you have your own YouTube channel that has way many more recordings on it than I do. So where can we find you all?
The cool thing is you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as The Aligned Path with Darlene. So you just need to do that. And I've now got an audio podcast. So that's Tuesday Talks with Darlene, which you can find on Apple and Spotify and my YouTube channel.
Excellent. I will grab all the links off you and put them in the bottom of our episode today. So thank you, Darlene, for sharing all of your beautiful vulnerability and wisdom with us. It is a pleasure to know you, my dear friend, and I'm so grateful that you're in my life, even when we disagree, which happens.
Yeah.
Because life wouldn't be right if I was always right or you were always right, and I'm never always right. And that's
Well,
okay.
the thing is, and I've actually been doing episodes reviewing each season and the insights that come out of it. So I've had guests on, and I don't agree with everything they say, but we love one another so much that it doesn't matter, because we're never going to agree on everything. But the fact is that there's so much love between us, and it challenges me. And this is what I love.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you challenge me in my thinking.
Yeah. And I love that you make me think outside the box, right? And you call me out my own bullshit. I say it often, I'm not God, I don't have all the answers. I do have very defined opinions, but I don't put them on people. I think differently,
Mm.
process through that, and
Mm.
that's okay. It's part of the awakening process is
Mm.
knowing and defining who and what I am.
Mm.
And before I was so opinionated, it wasn't funny. And I would convince you that sky was pink and purple polka dotted before you'd believe it was blue, and you'd believe
Huh?
just to get it.
It is pink and purple.
What color's what?
Yeah.
That. But yeah, thank you for your insights about your journey and understanding. One of the key takeaways that I got from it is especially intuition. Most of us, when we awaken, we're all looking for the fun clairs, the clairvoyance, the clairsentience, the feeling, the empathy, and the clairaudience. But we really mistake the claircognizance, okay?
Mm.
And you and that knowing is so strong and defined in yourself, it will make you stand up for things that are outside of the realm of your possibility, and it is where you won't back down.
Mm-hmm.
Trust that instinct, okay? When you know something, fight for it. When you know something isn't right, especially in your body regarding your healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
stand up for yourself. If I didn't say to a doctor, I'm not leaving until I get a CT scan, I wouldn't be here today. If you know there is something wrong with you and nobody else is listening or accepting it as truth, do your own due diligence and stand up and ask for more.
Mm-hmm.
So, so important.
That is.
Darlene has a beautiful special offer for everyone. How can they connect with you, and what do you have as a gift for our listeners today?
The gift I have, which I absolutely love, is you'll end up with a meditation and a workbook to meet your business's energy. So you actually go in and discover how your business's energy shows up for you. And the cool thing is it comes through in so many different ways. And when you've connected, then you actually get to have a conversation. So you get to start talking to your business. And I tell you, once you start, it's not going to stop. My business, when it first realized, when I started talking to it, it's like, oh, about freaking time.
I never shuts up either.
Yeah.
This is how we're recording this today. I'm like, yes, well, you're going to do it. So, okay. So anyone that's listening, thank you for taking the time to listen to us. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on email, shaz@shazsini.com.au, or Facebook, Instagram. The social links will all be in the episode. I will provide a link to Darlene's site so that you can download this beautiful meditation and workbook to start working with your business. And she also has a 20-minute free session if you want to have a chat and get to know her better. Reach out. We love talking to people and we're more than happy to
Very
help.
much so.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Get to follow us both on socials and you'll see that we do lots of things together. I quite often have Darlene on in the background when I'm doing psychic readings for people on Facebook, and she manages the people for me. So we have worked together for many, many years, and I appreciate each and every essence of it. Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss an episode. You can also follow us on Facebook with the links below. Until next time, trust your intuition and let your spirit soar.